A lot of people believe that younger women naturally prefer older men. And in many cases, that belief isn't wrong. Experience, emotional control, life wisdom, stability, these qualities give older men a real advantage, one that younger men haven't had time to develop yet. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Most older men don't lose attraction because of their age. They lose it because of how they carry that age. I've seen men in their 40s, 50s, and beyond make the same mistakes again and again. And every time they do, they don't just lose interest, they lose respect. And once respect is gone, attraction never even gets a chance to grow. That's the real tragedy, because older men already have everything they need. They just misuse it. You don't need to change who you are. You don't need to act younger, richer, or trendier. You simply need to stop making these 7 habits that quietly kill attraction. In this video, we'll break down 7 common habits older men unknowingly fall into. Habits that silently kill attraction and destroy respect before it ever has a chance to grow. This isn't about pretending to be younger. It's not about money, status, or tricks. It's about presence, mindset, and how you carry yourself. If you want to understand female psychology from a calm, grounded, and stoic perspective and avoid the mistakes that push people away without you realizing it, this video is for you. Welcome to Silent Stoic. Let's begin. 1. Putting her on the pedestal. You meet a younger woman. She carries herself with confidence. She's attractive, calm, and comfortable in her skin, and without realizing it, something changes inside you. Your mind starts racing. I can't mess this up. She's probably out of my league. So instead of being present, you start performing. You soften your opinions. You agree when you don't mean it. You measure every word, afraid to say the wrong thing. Slowly, your real personality fades into the background. And here's the hard truth most men don't want to hear. People are not drawn to those who admire them from below. They are drawn to those who meet them eye to eye. The moment you put her on a pedestal, you step off your own. You send a silent message. You matter more than I do. And no matter how subtle it is, that message feels heavy. It feels like pressure. And pressure kills attraction. Insecurity doesn't need to be loud to be felt. It leaks through tone, posture, and hesitation. The shift happens when you normalize her. She's not an image, not a prize, not a judgment of your worth. She's a human being with flaws, doubts, and ordinary moments just like you. Speak without attaching your value to the outcome. Stop trying to earn approval. Start showing up as an equal. Real confidence isn't dominance, it isn't arrogance, and it's definitely not worship. Confidence is calm presence. It's knowing you belong in the room without asking permission. That's when attraction has space to grow too. Being insecure about your age. So, how old are you? It sounds like a harmless question, almost casual. But for many men, it hits like a sudden spotlight. You feel it instantly. Your shoulders tense, your voice drops, your confidence wavers for just a second, and that second says everything. Not because of the number you say, but because of how you say it. The moment you hesitate, you frame your age as a problem. And when you treat something as a weakness, others instinctively do the same. Here's the truth most men miss. Age itself doesn't reduce attraction. Uncertainty does. Your years represent experience. They represent emotional control. They represent lessons paid for with time, but none of that matters if you act ashamed of it. You don't need to justify your age. You don't need to explain your past, and you certainly don't need to apologize for existing. Say it simply. Say it calmly. Say it the same way you'd state your name. No jokes to hide discomfort, no defensive tone, no need to soften the truth. Confidence isn't about pretending age doesn't matter. It's about showing that you're at peace with it. When you're grounded, age becomes context, not a limitation. When you hesitate, it becomes a liability you created yourself. People take their cues from you. If you stand comfortably in your reality, they relax into it too. Own your age. It's not something to overcome. It's something that quietly works in your favor when you stop fighting it. 3. Leading with money or status. Some older men quietly build their entire identity around success. Years of work, long nights, sacrifices that finally paid off. So when they meet someone new, they believe this is their strongest card. They lead with titles. They talk about careers, milestones, trips, and the life they've built. Not to impress, at least not consciously, but to prove they matter. Here's the problem. Success doesn't create attraction. It creates a transaction. The moment you introduce yourself as a provider first, you turn yourself into a resource, something to access, not someone to connect with. And resources can be replaced. Real interest doesn't grow from numbers on a screen or stories about what you own. It grows from how you show up in the moment. Your calm presence, your self-control, your values. These are things money can't fake. This doesn't mean success is unimportant. It means it shouldn't speak before you do. When you feel the need to highlight achievements early, it often signals uncertainty, as if your value needs proof. But a grounded man doesn't advertise his worth. He lets it be felt. Let success reveal itself naturally over time without announcement. When it appears quietly, it adds depth. When it's used as an introduction, it replaces substance. Your work should support who you are, not stand in for it, because the strongest form of confidence isn't showing what you've built. It's knowing you're enough, even without listing it. 4. Acting like a mentor instead of a man. Many older men don't realize they've fallen into this pattern until it's already costing them connection. It starts with good intentions. They want to help. They want to guide. They want to share what life has taught them. So they teach, they advise, they explain. Conversation slowly turns into a lesson. And without noticing, they position themselves above the other person, not as an equal, but as an instructor. Here's what's really happening. Wisdom becomes a shield. It's safer to talk at someone than to be emotionally present with them. It avoids tension. It avoids vulnerability, but the cost is high. You may sound impressive, knowledgeable, and intelligent, yet something feels flat because information doesn't create connection. Energy does. You become informative, but not interesting. Connection isn't built through instruction or correction. It's built through shared moments, through lightness, through presence, and emotional exchange. This doesn't mean wisdom has no place. It means it must be balanced. When you lead only with authority, you kill polarity. When you remove playfulness, curiosity fades. A grounded man doesn't need to lecture to be respected. His calm, attentive presence already speaks. Wisdom is powerful when it's invited. Attraction grows when it's paired with warmth, humor, and human energy. The goal isn't to teach someone how to live, it's to create a space where connection can breathe. Balance knowledge with presence, guidance with curiosity. That's where real interest begins. 5. Trying too hard to look young. Some men believe the solution is simple. Look younger, so they copy what they see. Forced slang that doesn't feel natural. Trendy clothes that fight their body instead of fitting it. Behavior that feels borrowed, not lived, and it shows. Not loudly, but clearly. Because authenticity can't be imitated. Trying to appear younger doesn't communicate confidence. It communicates discomfort with who you are right now, and people can feel that tension instantly. There's nothing wrong with caring about your appearance, but there's a difference between refinement and disguise. True confidence doesn't come from pretending time didn't pass. It comes from standing comfortably in the years you've earned. Dress sharp, not trendy. Choose clothing that respects your frame and your presence. Maintain discipline in your habits, your posture, your routines, and most importantly, speak naturally. The moment you force language or mannerisms that aren't yours, you create distance, not because of age, but because of inauthenticity. Your experience is visible in how you move, how you listen, how you respond. That's not something to hide, it's your advantage. When you stop competing with youth and start embodying maturity, something shifts. You feel grounded. You feel solid. And that grounded presence is far more attractive than any trend you could copy. Don't erase your years. Let them work for you. 6. Turning conversations into a resume. Some men don't realize when conversation quietly turns into a presentation. They start talking about what they've done, where they've been, what they've achieved, careers, titles, past victories, not because they're arrogant, but because they believe these stories explain their worth. And on paper, they might be impressive, but attraction doesn't grow on paper. It grows in the space between two people. The more you talk about yourself, the less room there is for connection. The more you list accomplishments, the more distant the moment becomes. Because interest isn't built by information, it's built by presence. Being fully there, listening without waiting for your turn to speak, responding, not performing. A conversation isn't a resume, it's an exchange of energy. A grounded man doesn't feel pressure to prove who he is. He doesn't rush to impress. He lets silence breathe. His confidence is felt in how he listens, in how he stays calm, in how he makes the other person feel seen. When you're truly present, you don't need to explain your value. It's already communicated through your tone, your patience, your attention. Achievements matter, but they don't need an introduction. They reveal themselves naturally over time. Connection comes first, and when it's real, everything else follows effortlessly. 7. Neglecting your physical presence. Experience alone isn't enough. Years can give you knowledge, perspective, and calm, but none of it matters if your presence doesn't reflect it. People read you before you ever speak. How you walk into a room, how you stand, how you take care of yourself. These details communicate more than words ever could. You don't need to look young. That's not the goal. You need to look disciplined. Discipline shows in the basics. Clean grooming. Clothes that fit your body, not trends. A posture that signals self-control. A body that shows you still invest in yourself. This isn't about vanity, it's about respect. When you neglect your appearance, you send a message quietly but clearly that you've stopped valuing yourself, and people respond to that energy without realizing why. Self-respect is visible. It shows in how you maintain standards even when no one is watching. It shows in consistency, not extremes. You don't need perfection, you need intention. A man who takes care of himself doesn't demand respect, he attracts it. Others feel it the moment he enters the space, before he speaks, before he explains anything. Your experience becomes powerful only when it's carried by a body and presence that reflect discipline. Take care of yourself, not to impress, but to honor who you are. When you do, the world responds differently. At the core of all these habits is one simple truth. Attraction isn't about trying harder. It's about owning who you are without apology. When you stop proving, stop performing, and stop hiding behind insecurity, something changes. Respect comes first, and attraction follows naturally. If this video resonated with you, take a moment to reflect not on what to fix, but on what to stop doing. And if you value calm confidence, emotional control, and stoic clarity in a noisy world, like this video to support the channel, subscribe to Silent Stoic for more grounded, timeless insights, and comment below which habit stood out to you the most and why. Your engagement helps this message reach men who need it. Stay calm, stay grounded, stay silent. See you in the next video.